Ladies, if you want to understand what makes a man chase you naturally, you have to shift your mindset. It's not about tricks, games, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about stepping into your full value, knowing your worth, and making it clear that you're not someone who just gives herself away easily. Men chase what they feel they can't easily have. That's not ego, that's just instinct. When a man sees a woman who knows who she is, who's not begging for attention, who's got her own thing going on, he can't help but feel drawn to her. She becomes the mystery, the challenge, the prize. The problem is so many women are taught that in order to keep a man's attention, they need to constantly be available, always texting back fast, always saying yes to the date, always putting his needs first. And at first he might like that, but it won't last. Why? Because there's no chase. There's no spark to keep him coming back. When you make things too easy, too convenient, the value drops. Not because you're not valuable, but because you're not showing that you believe you are. A man can sense that. Men pick up on your energy. If you feel like you have to work for his love, he's not going to feel the need to work for yours. Let's flip the script. Imagine you walk into a room and you're glowing, not because of your makeup or your outfit, but because you're confident. You're not looking around for who might be looking at you. You're not wondering if he'll notice you. You already know your presence is a statement. That kind of energy makes a man sit up straight. It makes him wonder, who is she? Now he's curious. Now he wants to know more. And the more he sees that you're not trying to get his attention, the more he's going to give it. That's when the chase starts, and it starts naturally. But here's the real secret. The chase isn't about withholding love. It's about upholding standards. You don't need to ignore him. You don't need to be mean. You just need to show him that your time is precious, that you don't entertain half effort, and that you have options even if you're not actively pursuing them. You become the woman who's not just looking for a man, you're looking for the right man, the one who sees your value and matches your effort. That's what makes a man step up. That's what makes him start thinking, I better not lose her. Some women give too much too soon. They think vulnerability means opening up everything right away. But vulnerability without boundaries is just exposure. You don't have to lay all your cards on the table in the first few weeks. Let him earn your trust. Let him work for your attention, not as a test, but as a natural process of getting to know you. The man who's serious about you won't mind. In fact, he'll appreciate it because it shows him you're not desperate for love. You're looking for something meaningful, and you're not afraid to wait for it. Now, what really pulls a man in? Peace. When a man sees that you don't bring drama, that you're not pressed for validation, that you're not trying to prove anything, that peace becomes powerful. A peaceful woman in control of her emotions, in love with her life, in tune with herself, that's irresistible. And because so few women truly operate from that space, when he finds it, he clings to it. That's the kind of woman he chases, not just for a date, but for a future. You have to understand that a man will never value what he didn't have to earn. If you don't set the pace, if you don't protect your space, he'll take what's easy and move on. But when you stand firm in what you expect, when you stop calling him first, when you stop bending over backwards to be chosen, you shift the dynamic completely. Now he's the one questioning. Does she like me? Now he's checking his phone, hoping to hear from me. Now he's putting in effort, planning dates, listening closely, showing up consistently, because he knows he has to. That's what happens when a woman decides to be pursued instead of positioning herself as the pursuer. Sometimes the most attractive thing you can do is be unavailable. Not in a manipulative way, but because you're genuinely busy creating a life you love. He asks to hang out last minute. You've got plans. He wants your attention all day through text. You've got a career, a schedule, goals to meet. You respond when you can, not when he demands. You're not playing hard to get. You are hard to get. Because your life is full, that's not an act, that's reality. A woman who is full within herself is the kind of woman who inspires a man to rise up. This isn't about punishing him or teaching him a lesson. This is about you teaching yourself how to be the kind of woman who doesn't settle. Because when you stop settling, the right man has to step correctly or step aside. And when he sees that you're not emotionally dependent on his attention, he realizes that if he doesn't pursue you, someone else will. That pressure makes him move. And if it doesn't, you already know he wasn't serious in the first place. So don't lower your standards to make him stay. Don't chase him to prove your worth. Don't overgive, hoping he'll appreciate you more. Just stand in your truth, move with purpose, and let him feel what it's like to earn the attention of a woman who knows exactly who she is. That's when he starts chasing you. Not because you forced him to, but because he wants to. Because he has to, because he realizes a woman like you doesn't come around often, and he's not trying to lose that. When a man truly starts to chase a woman, it doesn't happen because she begged for attention or played games to trick him into wanting her. It happens naturally when he sees something in her that's rare, something he doesn't want to lose. The problem is, a lot of women don't realize they're given too much too soon. They think if they're available all the time, if they show him how much they care right away, he'll stay. But it doesn't work like that. That's not how most men are wired. When everything is too easy, there's nothing to work for. No drive, no urgency. But when a man meets a woman who holds back a little, who makes him step up, who doesn't give her heart away just because he showed up, he takes notice. There's something powerful about a woman who's not rushing anything. She's not quick to assume the title. She's not asking, what are we after 2 dates? She's letting it unfold because she's focused on more than just being chosen. She wants a man who's intentional. She's not chasing a man. She's building a life. And when a man sees that, when he realizes you're not sitting by the phone waiting for him to call, it messes with him in the best way. He starts thinking about you more. He wonders what you're doing. He wants to know more about your world. That curiosity, that interest, that's the beginning of the chase. Now, let's be clear. You don't need to pretend you're not interested. That's not confidence. That's fear. You can be warm. You can be kind. You can even flirt a little. But the key is not making him your center. You have to have your own thing going on, your own schedule, your own passions. When you live a full life, it shows. Your energy is different, and that energy is attractive. When a man sees a woman who's emotionally secure and isn't afraid to walk away from the wrong situation, he pays attention. Because most women don't operate like that. Most are hoping and waiting and overextending themselves, trying to earn love. But the woman who says, I don't chase, I attract, is the one who stands out. Men are used to women trying to prove their worth. So when you don't do that, when you show up as yourself, confident, calm, not pressed, he's either going to rise to the occasion or fall back. And either result is a win for you, because if he falls back, he was never the right one. And if he steps up, it's because he sees your value and wants to be worthy of you. That's when he starts planning dates instead of just texting. That's when he starts calling instead of ghosting. That's when he starts asking deep questions, because he wants to know your heart, not just your body. That's when he starts chasing you, not because he's playing a game, but because he's genuinely drawn to you. And let's not forget, your silence is powerful. You don't need to explain everything. You don't need to prove your point. If he's inconsistent, don't complain, just pull back. If he's not putting in effort, stop initiating. Let him notice the change in your energy. Let him feel the distance. That space will tell him more than words ever could, and the right man will close that gap. He won't let too much time pass without checking in. He won't leave you wondering how he feels. When a man is really interested, confusion doesn't exist. Effort becomes natural, and the chase feels exciting for him, not exhausting. Too many women think they have to mold themselves into what a man wants. But the truth is, the more you stay true to who you are, the more you naturally attract the one who's meant for you. You don't have to dim your light or shrink your standards to make someone stay. If you keep giving chances to the wrong man, you block the right one from finding you. But when you walk in confidence, when you let go of fear, when you know your worth, your energy speaks before you do. And that kind of energy pulls the right man in. It doesn't just catch his eye. It keeps his attention. It earns his respect. And that's when he starts chasing you with intention, not just interest. Being a woman of value doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It means you know what you bring to the table and you're not afraid to eat alone until the right person pulls up a chair. You're not in a rush. You're not desperate. You've got peace, purpose, and a heart that won't settle for less than it deserves. And that energy, that's the key. That's what makes a man want to earn a place in your life. That's when the chase begins, not because you manipulated the situation, but because your confidence, your calm, and your boundaries made him realize that if he wants you, he's got to come correct. When you want a man to chase you, the secret isn't in playing hard to get or pretending you're someone you're not. It's about fully owning who you are and showing up in your feminine power. A man doesn't chase just because he sees beauty. He chases when he feels he might lose something valuable, something rare. And that value isn't about your looks alone. It's how you carry yourself, how you protect your peace, how you make it clear that you're not going to accept just anything. When you're rooted in self-respect and you don't need him to validate you, you become someone he can't help but want to be around. Not because you're chasing him, but because you're chasing your purpose, your peace, your passion, and that's magnetic. A lot of women confuse attention with effort. Just because a man is texting you doesn't mean he's pursuing you. Just because he compliments you doesn't mean he values you. Pursuit is about consistency. It's about action. It's about effort over time. And a man is only going to give that to a woman who doesn't hand over her emotional energy too fast. When a man meets a woman who's not jumping at every opportunity to please him, who doesn't rearrange her whole schedule to accommodate him, who shows him from the start that her life is full and her time is limited, that's the woman he takes seriously. That's the woman who triggers his desire to pursue, to impress, to earn a place in her world. If a man thinks he has all of you without giving much in return, he has no reason to try. But when he sees that you're kind, open, and feminine, but not overly accessible, he feels a need to step into the masculine role of the pursuer. That's when the energy shifts. He stops being casual and starts being intentional. But that only happens when you're not afraid to step back, when you stop calling him first, when you stop explaining your worth, when you stop trying to win him over and instead let him figure out whether he's worthy of winning you over. There is so much strength in silence. You don't always have to react, reply, or respond. When he cancels plans last minute, you don't argue, you just move on. When he disappears for days, you don't chase it. You just match the energy and pull back. That silence speaks volumes. A man who's genuinely interested will feel the difference. He'll start wondering why your attention is no longer centered on him. He'll start reflecting on what he did or didn't do. And if he wants to fix it, he will. Not because you asked, but because he knows if he doesn't, he's going to lose you. And a man doesn't chase a woman he knows will stay, no matter how he treats her. He chases the one who holds him accountable without saying a word. Women often ask why a man stopped putting in effort after the first few dates. The answer is usually the same, because he didn't have to anymore. Once he felt like you were all in, emotionally invested, always available, he relaxed. But when a woman holds a little back, when she lets things progress naturally without handing over her heart too fast, she keeps a man interested. He doesn't know exactly how she feels yet, so he leans in. He asks more questions. He plans better dates. He wants to be around her more. It's not a game. It's just the dynamic that happens when you let him lead and give him the space to decide if he's ready to step up. You have to believe that you are the prize, not in a conceited way, but in a grounded, secure, self-loving way. You have to know that your love is valuable, your presence is a blessing, and your energy is sacred. And because of that, not everyone gets access to it. That kind of energy shifts how men view you. You're no longer someone he can call up at midnight. You're no longer an option. You're the goal. The woman who knows her worth is the one a man will wake up early to call, will drive across town to see, will show up consistently for. Not because she asked him to, but because her energy demanded that level of effort. When you lead with confidence and grace, when you hold space for yourself instead of chasing him, and he begins to recognize your value. And when he realizes that another man can come along and give you what he's taken for granted, that's when the urgency kicks in. That's when the chase starts naturally. Not because you begged for it, not because you manipulated him, but because you reminded him through your actions, not your words, that a woman like you isn't going to wait forever. That's the truth. And once he feels it, he'll either level up or lose out. Either way, you win. When a man starts chasing you naturally, it's not because you said the perfect thing or wore the right dress. It's not because you played a game or tricked him into wanting you. It's because you tapped into your own self-worth and you stopped making him the center of your universe. The real turning point happens when you realize that your life is already complete with or without him. That's when your energy shifts, and that shift is what pulls him in. When a woman starts showing up like she's not waiting for anyone to choose her, like she's already chosen herself, that's when the real chase begins. Because now you're no longer someone trying to be picked. You're someone he doesn't want to miss out on. Men are natural hunters. It's in their DNA to pursue, to earn, to win. And if there's nothing to work for, there's nothing to stay excited about. If you make it too easy, he may enjoy the moment, but he won't feel that deeper drive to keep pursuing. But when he feels like he can lose you, when he sees that you have standards and boundaries and a life that doesn't stop moving for him, that's when he realizes he has to act. A woman who keeps her own rhythm, who doesn't slow down just because a man enters the picture, is a woman who stands out in a world full of people trying too hard to be loved. The moment you stop calling him first, texting him to keep the conversation alive, or asking him how he feels, you take back your power, not because you're trying to punish him, but because you're choosing yourself. That energy, the one that says, I'm fine either way, is powerful. It doesn't come from a place of pride or bitterness. It comes from peace. And that peace tells a man that you're not the kind of woman who'll stick around for half effort. You're not going to sit in confusion. You're not going to entertain someone who can't even be consistent. And when he feels that shift in you, when he senses that you're not emotionally dependent on his attention anymore, he either disappears or starts chasing harder. Either way, you get clarity. Some women believe they need to fill the space between dates with messages and check-ins and constant communication. But that only makes a man feel like he doesn't have to do much to keep you. If you're doing all the reaching out, there's no need for him to make a move. And he doesn't have to try, he won't. When you leave that space open, when you don't rush to fill the silence, he starts to notice the quiet. He starts to miss your energy. He starts to realize that your presence is something he has to earn, not something he's entitled to. That's when the calls come in more often. That's when the invitations start getting planned in advance. That's when he starts showing you he's serious without you having to ask. You don't have to play cold. You don't have to act like you don't care. You can still be warm, kind, and feminine, but with boundaries. It's not about rejecting love. It's about rejecting inconsistency. It's not about being mean. It's about being selective. A man will respect the woman who respects herself. He may not say it out loud, but he will show it through his actions. He'll show up for her. He'll be clear with her. He'll pursue her with purpose, because the woman who doesn't need him to complete her is the woman he wants to build with. When you stop explaining what you want and start embodying it, everything changes. When you carry yourself like someone who's not afraid to walk away from what doesn't serve her, you no longer have to convince anyone of your worth. It speaks through how you move. That's what keeps a man interested. That's what keeps him thinking about you. And when he sees that you're not going to compete for his time, not going to accept mixed signals, not going to wait around for someone to maybe treat you right, that's when he starts stepping up. That's when he chases, because he knows if he doesn't, someone else will. You have to be comfortable with the idea that not every man is going to rise to the occasion, but that's the point. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be loved fully by the right one. And if you want the right man to chase you naturally, you have to create the space for him to do that. That means pulling your energy back from situations that don't feel mutual. That means being okay with walking away from people who can match your effort. That means knowing that your value doesn't decrease just because someone else doesn't recognize it. The woman who becomes the prize in a man's eyes isn't trying to be. She just is, because she knows her worth, because she doesn't rush, because she trusts that the right man will come with the right energy. And until then, she keeps building her life, protecting her peace, and staying in alignment with her standards. That energy is unforgettable. And when a man feels it, he doesn't want to lose it. That's when he chases, not because you asked him to, but because you became the kind of woman he realizes he can't afford to lose.